Hey there, my language learning friends, and welcome back to the channel. So great to be with you. I hope your language learning journey is going smoothly and it's as much fun for you as it is for me. There's something that I've been sort of meditating and ruminating on recently with regards to language learning, and it's how differently we learn languages naturally as children when we're really young compared to how we learn languages in school, or in general, how we learn languages when we're older. And I'm actually envious of how my daughter is absorbing languages so organically and so efficiently, so smoothly. She hardly even realizes how powerful a force she is when it comes to language learning. So she has me thinking a lot about how we do this and what our misconceptions are about language learning, and basically how can we learn from children? How can we employ some of the same tactics that they do? But it's weird to put the question in that way, because the moment that you try to create a formula that you could follow to learn languages like children do, then you're not going to be learning languages like children do, because they don't have formulas. They don't have classes and programs and courses and textbooks. They don't really have a system. They're just living. And they're so fully alive, so curious, listening so intently, hanging on every word, asking a lot of questions, socializing and playing to the max. And you just can't put that into a formula. You can't follow a pattern or a script and get exactly the same results as they do. But maybe we can just try to mimic their behavior and their attitudes. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. But I'm talking about particularly the ages before children even start to attend school, really, which is the time when we can study almost like a scientific experiment, because again, they don't have teachers, classes, books, lessons. They're not studying. They're not doing homework. When children are 1 year old, 2 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, some people say even when they're still in the womb, they're starting to attune themselves to the sounds and the cadences and the spaces of language. I mean, that's the part that I'm really trying to focus on and talk about in today's video. So again, how do those children learn? They pick up so much so naturally. It's like a magical process for them how much they can absorb. My son now is a little over 1, and around the age of 1, he seemed to start to be able to understand verbal commands, simple verbal commands like no and sit, because we would have to keep him out of danger. So if he's about to touch something dangerous, we would say no, and he would freeze. Or we would say 坐 in Mandarin Chinese, 坐, and he would, that means sit, by the way, and saying 坐, he would crouch down. And because also when he was in his stroller, he likes to stand up in the stroller, which is dangerous, and we would tell him to sit. So me and my wife, babysitters, others, they would yell at him to sit to keep him out of danger. So he seems to be learning these verbal commands at that age. But yeah, so this is where language learning begins for us. It begins at a very young age. We are such powerful language learners before we ever enter school. But then, once we enter school, and the older that we get, the more years of school that we have gone through, the more we adopt the belief and we become conditioned that if we're going to learn something well, it comes through study. If we're going to learn something efficiently, it comes through study. And the teacher is the expert. We should join a class. Our classmates should be the same age, same level, and we should block out all distractions, focus on our book or the exercises or the homework, and we have to exert our effort and we have to stay concentrated and focused. And when we're older and we decide we want to learn foreign languages, this is basically our template. This is how we come at it. We study the language rather than absorb language, and we are not really open to language learning all the time. I mean, that would almost seem to like exhaust us, but it doesn't exhaust children. Children are so full of energy, and their ears always seem to be open. And then as older people, to make things fun and to prevent things from becoming totally boring, we might play a game in our target language sometimes, or watch some TV shows in our target language sometimes. And that's a step in the right direction, I think, but it misses the fundamental difference here, the fundamental reality that children are just so alive and so open to language absorption all the time. So I do wonder, and some of you out there might know more about this than me, but is it possible for older people to learn languages like really young children do, children who are age 1, 2, 3, 4? Is that even possible? Have we become too conditioned? Are our minds too rigid in certain ways that would prevent us from language learning like children do? Because increasingly, I'm trying to model the way that I learn and do things off of my daughter, who seems to be learning so well and so happily. And it seems to work for us because we are like learning partners. I mean, she sometimes brings ideas for me in terms of things that she wants to read or things that she wants to see on TV, and she often has questions for me. Sometimes I become aware of things that I want to show her. I might catch something in the news, or a Chinese person might show me something, on the streets, and then I want to bring it back and share it with her. So we are entering into this exchange together, and I'm paying close attention to how she operates. How does her mind operate? And it's really fascinating how little kids do things, because when they start to learn something, they're so excited and so entranced, and then they immediately go on to share and tell others, and they may be talking about it for days. And I think that's part of the process of weaving it in. I mean, her memory is so incredible. She seems to learn something once, and then I might hear about it for a little bit that day or the next day, and then weeks could pass and she doesn't seemingly mention it to anyone, but then she'll bring it up again. And it's like, whoa, you still remember that? It's been weeks or months, or in some cases even a year since we watched, for example, a movie, and she can remember parts of that movie and lines that were said. So I think something about their brain is just so super impressionable, and memories are forming more vividly, more easily. And I want to have that kind of a mind that is very plastic, very flexible, very open to receiving. Isn't that a big problem for a lot of adults, really? They've just kind of walled themselves off unknowingly to life. They pass judgment on things, they close themselves off, I guess unwittingly or not, and then they can't learn things well, because they've built their own mental walls. They've closed their ears off in some ways. They don't believe they could learn the thing, and so they have no chance to learn the thing. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now, but it's a fun topic. Pay more attention to how the young people around you learn language, be it their native language or foreign languages, and try to mimic some of their approaches and attitudes. I think that as a little mental exercise or a practice for a few days or weeks, if nothing else, could bring you some new ideas to try with regards to your own language learning. And who knows, it might become your new way of being in relation to learning foreign languages. Okay, that's it for this one. Hope to see you back here in the next one. Bye-bye for now.